This is the first of 3 classes which will teach you the basics of practical, no-blame problem solving. While it's designed for solving local government issues, it is also useful in addressing problems at all levels of government, and for that matter, in all aspects of our lives. To develop practical solutions that are likely to be adopted, there are 3 criteria. First, you should search for solutions that are working in cities or towns similar to your own and have succeeded. In other words, policies that are evidence-based. Second, you should make sure your solution can be implemented without increasing the budget. In other words, it should be cost-effective. And third, your solution should benefit the entire community and not be limited to a special interest or neighborhood. Solutions that meet these criteria are not ideological and therefore have a better chance of being adopted. There's no problem with having an ideology, but if you're going to learn to drive your government, it's best to start with a basic, practical approach. So let's get started. We're going to take you through a 10-step guide for solving local government problems that was put together by a team of accomplished practitioners, city government lawyers, administrators, and former local elected officials with a record of getting things done. Citizens who have used this guide have passed hundreds of local laws with a success rate over 90%. This guide is not a recipe for overnight success, but if you have the drive and determination, you can use it to get results on the issues that you care about. We're going to break the 10-step down into 3 classes. This first class will teach you the first 3 steps. Step 1 is to drill down to a specific workable problem. In other words, to identify your issue focus. To get things done, you first need to find the problem that you are passionate about. For example, you may be troubled about your city's public schools, but public education or poor schools is a very broad issue topic. It's not a specific problem. So you might drill down further and decide that it's poor graduation rates that bothers you. Now you've drilled down to an issue area. But there are many reasons that graduation rates may be low. And when you think about it more, you may conclude that student fighting and other discipline issues is the problem that bothers you the most, and that these discipline issues may be at the heart of your public school's poor performance and low graduation rates. By drilling down, you found your issue of passion, student discipline, and you're ready to attack this specific problem. This means you're now ready for step 2, which is to find the current policy on your issue. To do this, you need to exercise your legal right to government records by filing a record request for your school district's student discipline policy. Getting the current policy is useful for 2 reasons. First, knowing the current policy puts you on an equal footing with the members of your school board. For example, you will know when it was adopted and when it was last reviewed. Knowledge is power, and having detailed knowledge about the current policy will put you in a position to command respect from school officials because you've done your homework and you know as much or more than they do about your chosen issue. Now you're ready for step 3. You've drilled down to the problem you're passionate about, and you reviewed the current policy, but you don't yet have a solution. And mark this down. The ultimate power is having a solution. Without a solution, you're just a complainer. With a solution, you can get results. Fortunately, today's technology makes finding a solution relatively easy. Just use a search engine. For example, if you live in a city, Google search student discipline /urban. When you do, you will find successful student discipline policies that increase graduation rates and decrease dropout rates dramatically. They are called restorative discipline policies, and they have been proven to work better than purely punitive policies of the past. Because while they still include punishments, their focus is on fixing the underlying problem or restoring the student. If you want to expand your research, you can consult the websites of graduate schools of education or state school board associations. These university and association sites may list best practices or studies that you will find useful and build on your Google search. So this concludes your first class in the no-blame problem-solving process. You've learned how to drill down to a specific problem that you're passionate about. You've armed yourself with the knowledge of the current policy, and you found a solution with evidence of success. Now, you're well on your way to becoming a powerful 21st century citizen, and the next 2 classes will help you maximize your power.